Hi, this is Steven from Just Got Played, and today I want to give you an overview of Kraftwagen Age of Engineering from Samaruc Games. So thank you to the publisher for sending me a copy of this. I do need to point out that this is, a sample. Some components and pictures may differ from the final product, not for sale. The final version, the retail version of this, is going to be coming out later in 2024. But I'm a big fan of this game. If you've seen me on the channel before, I've talked a lot about the original Kraftwagen. So I'm going to show you the new version of the game and also try to highlight some of the differences between that and this. Okay, so this is the board. Every player is going to have their own company board, and then there's this one board that all the players share. So if we look at the company board real quick, I'll pull this up. So this is a nice dual layer board. And what you have here is this is different. So now you are tracking your tech level using these gears. And so you have a tech level on the body and the engine of the car, which says that when you build an engine or a body for a car, it tells you what level you build those at. And a rule which I think is new, or at least I never played with before, is the difference between them can only be 2. So if I was in this situation like this, I would need to raise the engine before I could raise the body anymore. So at the beginning of the game, also you get a starting bonus, I guess, is what you would call this. And this says I get a 2 engine and an engineering token. So I got my 2 engine, and I could stick that 2 engine here in my race car, which would allow me to race further whenever I take the race action. I'm going to just put it in one of these bays. These bays here, they can contain a car body or an engine, and you only have space for 3 of them. Over here is the canteen, so you have your workers. There is a new special type of worker called the salesman that you can get from a specific, I think it's an investor maybe, or an engineer or something that gives you that tile or that specific meeple. It works as a normal meeple if you use it here in these new spots for the race teams, but if you put it out with a car that's for sale, it counts as 3 of these little things. All right, so this is an engineering token, and what the engineering token does is when you take the research action, which is a new action that we'll talk about, instead of raising one of these up, you could choose which one you want to raise up. You can spend that engineering token and you could raise both of them up instead. All right. So I did mention these spaces here. So there's only one spot here. So when you go to race, before you race, you can allocate a person there. And if that first spot is filled, that's 1 extra space that your car is going to go. And then once you've filled that space, you can start to fill the second area, right? So this area, you would need 2 people in here. But if that was full, that would be a whole nother space. And then if you filled the third area, you would need 3 workers to fill that. But then your car would go another space again when you raced. All right, I'm going to set that aside for now. I did talk about the starting tile. These are actually drafted in reverse order of the starting turn order. So you assign turn order here randomly. As you can see, I put these out randomly, but I'm in the back, which means I go first. And that's sort of the main mechanism of the game, right? Whoever is in back gets to choose what they want to do. So I'll talk about some of those actions because, again, some of those are new, but let me explain the rest of the board. So up here is the racetrack, and that's basically the same as the original version of the game. You have your car, it goes out on the racetrack. It's interesting. So say my car was here on the 2 space. If the red car decided to race and it wanted to move 2, they never share spaces. They just overtake. So a 2 here would go 1, 2. They would actually get to go further. This is used to track how many laps you've done in the current round. There are 3 rounds to the game. At the end of each round, you're going to score points for how many laps you went and also for your place overall in the race. So down here are buyers. During the game, you're going to put buyers out because at the end of the round, these buyers are going to buy the cars that are for sale. So these buyers have different preferences. So here at the top, these are the buyers that will buy a car that has the best car body, regardless of price. If 2 cars have the same level of car body, right? So for instance, if you had 2, 3 cars out there for sale, they will buy the one that is cheaper. Also, when you put one of those out, you get to take these, which are worth points. This one, again, best engine. This is the one that has the most workers assigned to it, so it's kind of like luxury. And this one is they will buy the cheapest car that is out there, but you get double the points. for when they buy it, because you get points according to the price of the car. So those get moved over here during the course of the game. Investor tiles, which we haven't talked about yet, these end up here. They also will buy cars. This is one way that the round can end. So when the buyer's market fills up, anytime you trigger a buyer coming out, and so they can't come out, you instead count this down. And when it's down at the bottom, that's one way for the round to end. Another way for the round to end is for this market of cars to be full. So how do you get a car out? Okay, so one of the things is I did mention that it's my turn because I'm in the back. So I can take my piece and I can jump as far as I want along here and choose any of these actions. So for instance, let's just say I take the very first one, right? So this is a car body. So this says, give me a car body. And then of course, when you're done, you put this back here so somebody else can choose from it. I'm going to put that there. Now, so I have my company, right? What level car body do I make? Oh, I make a 1. All right. And I could just say that's my entire turn. I'm done. But the other thing that you can do besides whatever you chose in the actions here is you can put a car out for sale every round. I do have the parts to put a car out, so maybe I just will, right? Maybe I'll just say I'm going to put out a car that has a 1 body, a 2 engine, and 1 worker. And I'm going to say I'm going to put the 3 price on it, which means if this car gets bought at the end of the round, I'm going to get 3 points. All right, so that's how cars get out here. If this is full, that's another way that the round ends. All right, so that's what these prices are for. Let's look at some of these other actions. This is the worker symbol. So it allows you to recruit a worker from the supply into your canteen so that you can use those workers. This is new. All right, so let me show you this one up close. So this gives you a few different choices of what to do. You can move your race car 3 spaces. You can recruit 2 workers, like you saw me just recruit 1, or you could do this recruitment action up here. So let's talk about this because this is new to the game. So every round, you're going to put out 2 engineers. The old game had engineers. You're going to put out 2 investors. Investors are new, and 2 tiles that are sort of like instant things that you gain. These will not get replenished during the round. So these are the 6 that will be available this entire round. And at the beginning of the next round, then it'll get replenished. So the ones that are just instant, so this one says this one, I'll put it up here closer. It just says, hey, take 3 workers and put them in your canteen. This one says, regardless of the level of your body tech, get a 3 size or a level 3 body. And then you have some different people, right? So an investor is interesting because they give you some ongoing benefits. So this one says that when you, that's when you put out a buyer, then you get to research +1, maybe. So there can be ongoing benefits for these, but also when you, like I said, when you take an investor, they can go out here, they're going to buy a car. In the rule book, it tells you what kind of car they want to buy. You also get an investor token. So an investor token is interesting. You keep these, but you can put these out on a car, and effectively that car, if I have that on my car, effectively that's going to give me the ability to sell that car twice. So investors are new, investor tokens are new, the fact that investors buy cars, all of that's new. And this whole recruitment area is new instead of the sort of the random tech market that was there before. You do still have the engineers, right? So this engineer, George Brayton, when you get him, you get an engineer token. So I talked about, the engineer token earlier, how it can improve your research. But he also gives you some ongoing benefit. This one specifically says that when you sell a car to a buyer who is a price sensitive buyer, that instead of getting double the points, you get triple the points. So that's pretty cool. We got Chevrolet here. Looks like every time you race, you go an extra space, right? So that's pretty neat. All right. So that's what that is. This is this symbol right here. This says manufacture an engine, right, at whatever your current level is. And you'll notice that all of the ones that were out first were do a single action, right? So this one is the race, right? So again, when you race, you move along the track depending on how many racing crew you have and the level of the engine that you've put in your race car. And this is the research one, which allows you to raise your engine level or your body level, or both if you use an engineering token. All right, so but once you get past these, which are do one thing on your turn, then it was randomly set up that the two things are out next. So this one, see, lets you recruit a new worker and do research. This one lets you race and put out a buyer. So that's what I talked about, taking one of these buyers, putting them out here, taking the benefit that is next to them. And those benefits can stack, right? So if nobody puts out a buyer who is sensitive to the body, then another two would get put on that at the beginning of the next round. So that could potentially be more. So that's what that one is. This one is a recruit a worker and manufacture a body. And, again, you have to have a place to put that body in here. If these are full and you manufacture a body, you can throw one away to put another one there, but you don't have unlimited storage. And this is recruit a worker and build an engine. And then, of course, despite what you get to do here, you can always put out one car. So that's important. And then this is the one that is 3. So it's always at the end, at the beginning, because it's race, put out a buyer, and do research in whatever order you choose, because that might be important. So again, green could go next, but they could skip all the way up here and decide that they want to race, right? They could maybe they had something that helped them start at the beginning of the race. Maybe they allocated some workers. So maybe they go several spaces. But now, red could go, and then blue could go, and it could be a few people could get some turns before green gets to go again. So that's interesting, sort of rondelle thing going on here. In here in the middle are achievements. So if you, at any point during the game, meet the criteria, you get the points here. So this is for instance, the first person to complete a lap. You get this, and it's worth 3 points at the end of the game. I say points, it's actually reputation, and you track it along the outside of the board here. That's what these markers down here are for. But, so there's first person to complete 2 laps, first person to build a level body or level 6 body, level 4 engine, level 7 engine, first person to have none of their workers in the supply because they're all in the canteen or in the racing crew or out servicing cars. First person to have 3 engineering tokens. First person to put 2 cars out in the market on the same turn, or the first person to put 2 buyers out of the same kind, I think that is. So yeah, this is another way to get points. So your points mainly come from selling cars, getting achievements, and then of course you have the race points as well. So, what I like about the game has always been this sort of cutthroat nature of putting cars out, then trying to put a car out that undercuts one of your opponents, but then you also have to be cognizant is what buyers are there. Because, I put this car out and, what's special about it is its price is relatively low, but somebody could undercut me with a 1 and a 2, and so it could be unsold. The engine is currently pretty good. It's a 2. Most people only start with a 1 engine, but very easily somebody could get a 2 or 3 engine car before the end of this round and put it out. And then, so even if I had managed to get a engine buyer out, they might buy that other car instead of my car. But that's the trick, because if you put a car out and the buyer market fills up and there's nobody to buy what's nice about your car, it's just wasted. All of this stuff gets removed if it's not purchased at the end of the round. So very interesting push and pull there. I just wanted to get into my thoughts about the game and why I like it so much. But I'm going to do a full review of this game after I play it at Dice Tower East. So if you are going to be at Dice Tower East coming up at the beginning of July in Orlando, Florida, and you want to play this game with me, then first of all, it's despite the fact that it's Orlando, Florida in July, it's really cold in the convention center. So you need to bring your favorite astronaut hoodie to wear. So I just want to make sure you know that. But aside from that, if you want to play the game, leave a comment in the YouTube video. Come find me on BoardGameGeek. Or if you look in the description of the video down below, you'll see that we have a Discord channel, and that's actually the easiest way to get a hold of me. So leave a note in the Discord channel, and I'll make sure that we can get together and play this game, because I'm going to play this multiple times at Dice Tower Convention I would imagine I'm going to make everybody play it with me. But anyway, if you like this video, I'd appreciate giving it a like. You can subscribe to our channel. And again, come to the Discord chat with us about anything you want. But until the next time, thanks for joining me.